Howdy, Heroes Hearth. This is Kyle Fergusson. Today, I'm sitting down with GOON to talk Kharazim. GOON, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man. Pretty excited. Not gonna lie, I'm nervous, and I'm nervous at watching this terrible gameplay everyone's about to see from me right now.
Well, we'll talk about where it could have been improved, or let's see what happens. Kharazim is always kind of an investment in low healing chaos.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone watching, this is from the Storm Division, $1 Million JPEG versus Can't Censor Ship, Sky Temple, Game 3. Do you remember, I know this was about a week ago now, do you remember where you drafted the Kharazim?
I think he came out, I think we were first pick, and I think we picked Junkrat. It's either Junkrat or Johanna, but he definitely came out into 2-3 in our second... Yeah, our second rotation there. It was something that pairs decently with heroes that like to fight and potentially blow up an opponent on the other side. So the idea was to, hey, we're gonna run around the map, post 10, blessed shield, cursed bullet, 7-sided strike, and then also he can take buildings with Greymane and yeah, but. I don't think we ever got that combo down just because I don't know what happened. We were playing a different game, I guess.
I mean, you got quite a few issues to land that here. You got a Tyrael over there. There's going to be Mephisto going in and out, Banshee Queen teleporting around. Like it's not a clean just, smack the Cho'Gall, as sometimes we see the 7-sided strike come out into.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the heroes that are in the off lane by themselves, which I mean, in the lanes by themselves is going to be Tyrael or maybe or the Hogger for sure. And Hogger's just got an ability or two that allowed him to get out for free every time. So trying to stun lock that hero long enough to be able to kill him is definitely a challenge.
Is there a reason you're rotating top here? Or was it just that we need coverage, someone get up there, and whoever's available?
It was supposed to be, hey, let's rip our bruiser camp right away and start pushing. Like we didn't want it to crash and stall out like this. We wanted to clear theirs first, so we're hitting their buildings with Kharazim, Greymane, and then having Yrel to cover. But unfortunately, we were a little too slow on that rotation, and then our wave clear is also generally just worse with these three heroes versus their four.
So outside of kind of this aggression we'd have going alongside the Greymane, it looks like for the most part Johanna, Yrel, Junkrat's gonna bomb away, so everyone's kind of self-sufficient except for the Greymane. So you're tied to Greymane for this whole thing. Is there anything on the enemy side you're directly countering with the Kharazim?
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily countering it. Maybe at 16 when I get triple cleanses, I'm really going to be making sure that nobody on my team gets mind controlled. That's going to be a really powerful ability that ends up later on in the game if we get to 20 being very oppressive. Being able to cast a mind control every 15 seconds can be pretty toxic to deal with, and Kharazim can have a cleanse every 8. So that's a good tool there. I think Lucio is banned at some point also, because that's another one of the options I would take against the Sylvanas with mind control, just Lucio. But yeah, I'm not really countering too much, looking to augment my Greymane and also just play to our style, which was supposed to be to take a pick, to find a pick. And also Kharazim is he's deceptively tanky in a way that his healing isn't that incredible, but he does have iframes, invulnerability frames with 7-sided strike. You can, if you wanted to, spec into some spell armor. You can do the relentless, the Sixth Sense, or you can do in the block totem. The block totem augments his sustain by providing physical armor and negating a lot of that damage that might come out from the opponents.
So do you think Kharazim is a good piece for a healer resume and something like the NGS? Because you mentioned Lucio, and we have our big ones, Stukov, Rhaegar. Is this one more piece a player should bring?
You know what? Honestly, I think so. And this game, you're not going to see it too much, but I do think that there is a space for a Divine Palm. Currently, with the way the meta is kind of shaping up right now, 7-sided strike doesn't get as much value as it normally would have gotten in the past. and I think there's a lot of one-shot potential comps that might exist, and Palm is a really good way of mitigating that. Also, Kharazim likes to, hey, he can just dash in and punch those squishy backline heroes that people like to prioritize. You can put a lot of pressure onto a Bala with a dash and an E, or like any support really. He can dash onto that trace, that pesky tracer that we see from time to time flying around. He should definitely be picked up more often, especially if you have teammates that are aggressive or you're looking to deny a pick with Palm. But that takes practice. Palm is hard to hit sometimes.
Let's take a look at that build as it's come together here. You mentioned at level 4 you had your Earth ally, which is providing you that basic attack reduction. Is this just a go-to for you? I mean, there's no extreme on the enemy side. There's no Rainer. There's no Vala.
Right. I think a lot of the time it's pretty good. There's a blessed seven side.
That was nice.
And then I'm able to confirm. This is what I like about Kharazim also, is he confirms. He can confirm kills for your team. He gets in, gets that last auto or two, and then is able to get out. Going back to the Earth ally, sometimes I'll go into the Air ally. I think it's the blue one, the one that grants vision, and also 15% spell power. I'll grab that because that spell power augments, Kharazim's heal. It augments damage that's coming out from my teammates, and sometimes you'll see the double support come out. That 15% also applies to the other support player, the other healer. But I think the block totem or the Earth ally is generally pretty solid. Outside of abilities, there's a bunch of auto attack damage that's coming in. Being able to mitigate, I think it's 50% of all that damage for 10 seconds, and it's also the tankiest totem. Just makes it's tankiest by far. It also, this part is kind of crazy. I'm like sitting here waiting in this bush, and I tell my teammates, you know what, let's just leave. They don't know I'm here. I'm going to Hearth back. But then I think Zane says, I will give you a dash target. I'm like, no, I'm out of here, bro. And I think he dies.
That's some nice body. Oh no, you're just bailing.
Oh man, but yeah, mitigating 50% of the auto attacks are coming out. That just means I have to heal 50% less damage from the auto attacks, specifically on my teammates. And Kharazim's W, it's not like an ancestral heal or anything like that, right? So.
Then you got at level 1 the more aggressive of the fist talents here, the Iron Fist. Every third basic attack deals 110% bonus damage, increases movement speed, but I believe they all are the exact same movement speed. Yeah, so
right.
Auto pick here, or do you shop around?
I think here, because of like the way my comp is supposed to play out, where it's aggressive, let's blow somebody up, we want to make sure we're putting the damage onto them and killing them. This is very important. And here, this is where I talk about the invulnerability. I'm able to seven-sided strike and then like dash away.
Did you queue that up? Because you dashed fast when it was over.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say my Junkrat helped me out there. He had a nice boop to prevent any other follow-up CC, because a lot of people will try to time that seven-sided with some CC of their own. But yeah, you can queue that up. But yeah, usually I'll just go the auto attack, the Iron Fist, because my Grey Mane's getting in there hitting. I want to hit buildings too. There are instances I think where Insight can be really good. I think into low CC compositions where maybe you just need to provide more sustain as the healer in team fights. He can turn into a really tanky, just insane hero actually.
But no transcendence. That is in the wrong direction. You've already sacrificed heals for the hero. Why go that? Kharazim's one of my favorite. He's actually my favorite hero in the game. There are very few times where I'm like, transcendence is fun here. But more testing is required. All right. Excellent. So you mentioned you're going to kind of go for these low cooldowns. We already have 12 seconds on the Radiant Dash. You want to dash more often, so you got that blinding speed going for that big Sylvanas counter as it goes on. You got the Quicksilver, which gives movement speed here at 13. This is such a weird level for Kharazim, because oftentimes we see required survivability levels, and we have Sixth Sense here. We have Spell Shield. Quicksilver just seems not that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a way, it can be survivability, right? Because you're increasing the movement speed of you and your ally to get away from an opponent. The other ones kind of, yeah, they're more direct survivability choices, but they only affect Kharazim. This dash affects the Quicksilver affects two people, Kharazim and the target he dashes to. Also, it pairs well with the cleanse because you're able to cleanse somebody, not only cleanse somebody, but allow them to run away from the situation they just got cleansed from a lot faster than if they didn't have the movement speed.
So do you think there's like a value diminish on dashing to your ally totem as you start putting more talents into Radiant Dash?
Yeah, as the game goes on, usually by like 13, 16, I'm playing less aggressive. Like early on with Kharazim, I'm punching something. I'm standing in a bush. I'm punching the Tyrael, or I'm punching the tank. I don't care. I'm in there. I'm just hitting targets. Being annoying, and as the game starts to scale, it starts to go on, and my teammates and the opponents are scaling. I need to change my play style. Now I've got the cleanses. I need to be playing more of a supportive style, and the only time I'm dashing around aggressively is to confirm. So at this stage of the game, I'm not looking to get in there and dash back to my totem. That is only for like levels 1 through 10.
Do you think things like ETC or really high CCs are just complete no-goes for Kharazim?
If you're actually just sprinting it down as Kharazim at these heroes, yeah, probably not. But I think Kharazim can play around those heroes pretty well. Again, like, he's got a lot of mobility. He's generally a really safe hero. He's not going to get punished too hard. It's all about just protecting your allies at this point of the game, and even against those kinds of heroes. I think probably the most annoying hero for me in this game to deal with I was the Rhaegar, because I did want to be aggressive at some points, but then he would drop this totem that would reduce my attack speed, so that I couldn't put out that damage as fast as I wanted. But yeah, I mean, I think you can play around those high CC heroes. Like here, I'm able to cleanse. He's able to use his unstoppable or his ardent defender, and this is what I'm doing now. I just kind of wait, just making sure. I'm just posturing, waiting, watching. There's the 7s there, just to kind of create some space and hopefully draw them away from my allies. But they actually just get caught by this Durance.
That was that was like an edge of the screen Durance. That was pretty.
Yeah,
pretty lucky, pretty solid.
But yeah, Kharazim, you can use your body, your positioning to bait cooldowns from the opponent. You can bait that CC. Yeah, if you want to sit there and like bait the power slide out from the ETC and take a bunch of damage afterwards, you can do that. And so, depending on your survivability talents that you took at 13. You can 100% do that, and he's really good at that. You can use your ult to make yourself invulnerable. You can palm yourself. It doesn't feel as bad as de-shielding yourself because the palm's only a 50-second cooldown. Both of his heroics are 50-second cooldowns, so you can position aggressively, you can bait cooldowns, or you can be passive and react and respond to what the opponents are doing. He's pretty flexible in that way.
Oh, that seems like the hardest part. You got this, it's the Kerrigan problem. You got one button that goes in.
Yeah.
But we can definitely see that. Like you've adapted as the game goes on. Certainly right around that like 13, 16 point, there was just this hard cutoff of I'm done punching. I'm here for my team. I'm going to be more almost like Anduin, kind of hovering around the back to make sure everyone's safe.
Right, exactly. And that this doesn't just apply to Kharazim. This can apply to a lot of heroes. Okay, right here, there's a moment right here that we're going to see. I'm putting pressure. I see the Sanct. I see the Ancestral. Those two heroic abilities come out, and as you see, the opponent isn't level 20 yet. And then they hit level 20, and I think they make a core call here, which is a little spooky for them because the two abilities that they would want to have for the core race are down.
Yeah.
And there's the mind control on my Johanna. I'm able to cleanse it, and then I'm just kind of just sitting around tanking damage or trying to bait damage. I end up going down, actually. I'm pretty sure my teammates are pogging, and I'm just punching. But at that point, there's no cooldowns on the enemy team, and my teammates could just frag out of their minds.
Well, that was a really good just understanding of the game. I mean, this is storm level play here we're seeing. You knew how to split. Greymane stayed on the boss. You were doing some zoning with the 7 side to kind of keep everyone away from Greymane so he could actually do his job. Everyone else was kind of zoning off, and I've in a Storm League environment, everyone would have been going, well, yeah, let's hit the boss. No, let's hit that. I want to hit the enemy. Greymane's afraid of hitting enemies, and it would have fallen apart.
Yeah. And that just comes with games, just playing the game and just harvesting so much information for yourself, right? There's so much contextual, you have your own contextual, or anecdotal evidence, and then you bring that to your team environment. They have their own anecdotal evidence, and you guys, hash those things out. You guys bring them together, and you find success, or sometimes you don't, and that's okay. But yeah, right there, it was just I remember thinking, I was like, hey, they can't go. I said they can't go core here, right? They just used Ancestral and they used Saint, and 3 of my teammates were like, yeah, we can actually defend. If they stick around, we kill them. And then what's their siege damage? Mephisto, a half HP boss, and a Sylvanas. They need those 2 abilities, So
yeah, that divide and siege is massive across this game as well. And you're right, it's not and Hogger sure has a lot of siege from being Hogger the whole game. It's not like he's gonna knock it out in the final moments. So here, as the game was going on, we kind of saw this evolution of Radiant Dash becoming a defensive ability. So you got the cleansing touch at 16. Mm-hmm. Is there any other pick that you would do if you meant to take Kharazim? You're not playing for fun. If you meant to take Kharazim, is Echo of Heaven the build we hear of the most about? Insight, Echo of Heaven, and Storm League, is it viable?
I think so. I actually played in a scrim the other day and was playing with it, and I went Insight Kharazim, and it was on Alterac Pass. I was on the Null camp a lot, stacking my quest there, and then there was an opportunity where we fought on the bottom boss. And the enemy team didn't have a whole lot of CC to really deal with me. They had a lot of damage, there was some Jaina wombos and stuff like that, but I took the spell shield and I just started punching out of my mind, and I was just spamming W, and then I had a block totem, so Greymane wasn't hitting me, and then I had the spell shield. I stood on the point essentially by myself as Kharazim for 6 seconds before my team showed up and was able to actually contest the point. And I think we actually took the boss, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we did. They showed up, and I was able to palm myself at the very end of all that. I palmed myself. My Johanna steps onto the point, and then we were able to win that. But yeah, I think Echo of Heaven with Insight is really good. I do like the Way of the 100 Fist. If I don't need the cleanses and they have a lot of squishy backliners where I become a threat, it's hey, am I looking to protect my allies at levels in the late game, or am I looking to augment my threat with my team at level 16? Are we just diving this Malfurion? If we're diving this Malfurion and killing him, I'm going to go Way of the 100 Fist because I want to make sure he goes down. Am I running this Tracer down? Okay, I'm going Way of the 100 Fist because I want to make sure that I force that recall out. So it just, depends.
And it says basic attacks here, so that would stack with Insight, but does it stack with Iron Fist for a third basic attack dealing more damage?
It's getting that damage out fast, but yes, it does. Okay. It will. Yeah.
Very cool.
It will.
And then level 20, you got the Storm Shield, which I think is the last just plain old Storm Shield in the game, possibly, now that Rhaegar lost his.
I think ETC has one.
Gotta mold the old one.
Yeah. This is oh man, I remember when Kharazim remember when Protection Shield was in the game at level 4? Do you remember that? It was a 10% HP little tiny shield that you would get. Anyways.
Oh my god, yeah, back when first aid was a thing and all that.
Yeah. But Storm Shield, what I like about this talent is it augments Kharazim's sustain at the end of the game. And here I took it, because there's a Mephisto who's doing, in theory, there's a Mephisto and the Sylvanas that potentially deal a bunch of AoE damage. Being able to pop the Storm Shield when that damage is first coming out and using that to mitigate everything, at least, 15, I think it's what is it? It's 20% right out the gate. That's pretty strong. And then saving my W for, you know, when I actually need it. That's pretty powerful. If not, I probably would have gone Transgression or Epiphany.
There's a lot of buttons here, actually. There's quite a few options. Transgression gives you that 4 more additional strikes, but any looking at like the Fist of Legend, that's a cool idea. Epiphany seems not good, but I'm on the outside looking in, thinking about rewinds on an Uberak.
Yeah, Epiphany's. I think Epiphany's okay, especially if you're just like, I'm going all in with way up 100 fists. I want to have, you know, 5 dashes, 5 instances of way of 100 fists, and really like blow somebody up. You can 100% go that. Sometimes I'll rip that talent if like it's like looking like it's the final team fight that's gonna happen before an objective, and I'm low on mana and I can't palm, I can't 7, I can't press W, because it gives Kharazim 33% of his maximum mana instantly. So being able to get your mana back, assuming you're not insight, right? I mean, if you have insight, you're not out of mana theoretically. If you're out of mana, you press this button, you're able to drop a heal, get that extra dash out, maybe, you know, whatever the case may be. Fist of Legend, it's fun. It's fun. I just think that the other buttons are just like really good. And I don't think Fist of Legend is terrible. The other ones are just awesome.
Well, excellent. Is there a single build, and is it this build that you would recommend to Kharazim's training up, want to learn a hero, using it in quick match?
You know, if you're just learning the hero, I think this is a good build to start off with. If you don't want to go the cleansing touch at 16, you can go the way of the 100 fists. Go 7-sided strike. If you really want to up your game and you really want to like hone in your skill as a support player or whatever the case may be, pick the palm and still go the Iron Fist. The reason being is the healing output in general is lower. You can't rely on just raw healing numbers to kind of put a band-aid over your teammates and stuff, or yourself as a player. You got to use your skill. This is definitely a more mechanical hero. More, you know, I think you got to be thinking a little bit about what's happening in the game and your positioning. This is a good way to get you into that next like level, I think, of play, of leveling yourself up. But that's me. That's what I say. This is the character that I played until like for forever. You know, he's my highest level character, and I just like those kinds of challenges for myself.
That's great. No, that's perfect. You're the perfect person to talk to about this hero.
I hope.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the rundown. Everyone watching here on Heroes Hearth, thank you for joining us. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell. There will be more Learn to Play content for Here's the Storm coming up as we head through the NGS and towards that Season 4 of the CCL. Stay tuned.